Hey everybody, I'm going to be answering a request here. Somebody requested that I show my DVDs and Blu-rays that I have of the Beatles so far, and I think I'd like to do that. I don't have everything, you know, there's stuff I'm missing, and there's a few titles that I think I have but I haven't been able to find. I'm usually very, very organized when it comes to my collections, but for some reason I got stuff all over the house here, and I got as much of it together as I can. Now I want to tell you before I start that I don't only have legitimate releases. Everything I'm going to show here is going to be anything that I have that's legitimately released. It's not unofficial or pirated or anything like that. But I want to make it clear that I have a lot of that stuff. I would say maybe 100 DVDs of that, or close to it, which ranges from stuff like the Beatles as a group, everything they ever did, interviews, concerts, home movies, anything, together as a band, and solo artists from, you know, ranging from the earliest footage of them in 1962 to right now in 2014 with Paul's latest concerts. Collect the group and solo together. So before I get started, for anybody that's a serious fan out there, a collector, if you're like me at all, you're interested in collecting a lot of rare stuff, and while the stuff here that I'm going to show is legitimately released, you may find, like me, that a lot of times the most intriguing stuff is not even available commercially. And we still can't get Let It Be, right? But you can get Let It Be somehow if you want it, and you can get Let It Be, all kinds of outtakes, hundreds of hours. Not that many people want to see all of that stuff. But yeah, a lot of times I think that both with audio music and with film, that a lot of times the stuff that you can get from hardcore collectors, so to speak, are it's more interesting than stuff that you can get just in the regular stores and online. So now you guys see a lot of videos on YouTube. Everything's on there. If you click on the Beatles or solo Beatles, there's all kinds of rare films and things that you've never seen before. And that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I have it all on various DVD compilations and things. In addition to collecting music, I'm a really big film DVD collector of all things John, Paul, George, and Ringo group and solo. As I say, from the earliest films you can find to them in, say, 1962 or so, to right up to Paul's recent tour that he did last week. So anyway, I know I'm going off on a tangent there, but let me start with, here's some of the basic stuff that I have. Okay. Paul. Anyway, this is the anthology, which every self-respecting Beatle fan should have. Multi-DVD set anthology. Pretty basic stuff. Now, so far I have yet to buy the brand new, newly released Blu-ray of A Hard Day's Night, the movie. But so far all I have is the Miramax one in this package. But I intend to get the new one as soon as possible. So I have 4 complete historic Ed Sullivan shows. And what else we got here? By the way, this stuff's going to be all in crazy order. It's not going to be strictly, you know, the Beatles and then John, Paul, George, Ringo. It's going to be all mixed. I picked this up recently. It's a documentary. Good old Frida. I can't recommend this enough for all Beatle fans. Even if you're not a diehard Beatle fan, it's a very interesting account of the woman, her story of the woman who was the Beatles fan club secretary in England. From before they got famous, even, really, until even a couple of years after they broke up. It's really fascinating. You wouldn't think so. That's how she looks today. I met her at a convention recently, for what it's worth. She couldn't be more accommodating and sweet to the fans. She signed autographs. She used to edit the Beatles monthly book, and, you know, she signed an autographed copy to me. You know, so I would recommend seeing this. Let's see. Okay, here's the Lennon Legend collection. Videos by John. Here's the movie Backbeat, which I think was from 1994. I think it's a pretty decent take on the Beatles' early days about Stuart Sutcliffe. Okay, I have the Magical Mystery Tour Blu-ray. Pick that up. Here's Yellow Submarine on regular DVD. I didn't get it on Blu-ray, and I don't know if I'm going to. It's funny, I'm kind of a completist in ways, but I'm happy enough with just the DVD. Truth be told, Yellow Submarine is not really one of my favorite Beatle things to watch. I never really liked the crazy artwork that much. I like it more now, I would say, than I did as a kid even. And I can appreciate the psychedelia of it now. But it's not among my favorites. I'd rather watch Help than watch this. But I like this for the music that goes with the action. Here's the concert for Bangladesh, George Harrison and friends. Really good concert with Bob Dylan being a particular standout, if you're a Dylan fan. Here's Paul McCartney in Red Square. You get to see Putin in it. So there you go. This is a very interesting documentary and a concert worth seeing about how Russia originally couldn't get a hold of any Beatle records in the old days, and then eventually they were able to get Beatle records, and Paul was entertaining Russians. This is called John, Paul, Tom and Ringo. Tom Snyder. This is the Tom Snyder interviews with John, Paul, and Ringo. What they did, and this is really recommended. This is good. Tom Snyder, especially for the John interview, which it's hard to find a lot of interviews with John on television and stuff, so that's good. Here's the making of A Hard Day's Night. That includes the song that was left out of the movie, the performance of You Can't Do That, narrated by Phil Collins. And Phil Collins points out that he was actually one of the kids in the audience at the end concert for the film. Okay, where are we at? Okay, this is cool. This is George Harrison, the Dark Horse years, 1976 to 1992. Some of his promotional videos. What's really annoying about this, it's good and bad, because again, I think if Olivia Harrison out there and George's son Danny are watching, we really appreciate all the things that we've been getting, but there has to be more and faster, because on this compilation we got some really tantalizing, beautiful snippets of George Harrison playing in Japan in 1991. And he only does a few songs. It makes your mouth water for an entire concert, a DVD devoted to the best moments or best shows of that concert. I mean, it was one time where George actually went back out with Eric Clapton, and you know, some kind of highlights DVD, if not a whole show, would be really appreciated. It's long overdue. Something a little different here. This is the joke movie, The Ruddles. Remember The Ruddles? All You Need Is Cash. Pretty interesting, pretty funny for anybody who knows the real history of the Beatles and can appreciate a little spoof. It's funny too, in 1978 when this was first broadcast on TV, I was actually offended. As a 16-year-old, I was like, how dare they make fun? You know, now I get it. I get it now, and I think it's funny. And there at the back are them Beatles, the Ruddles crossing not Abbey Road, but Shabby Road, as they call it. Here's the Beatles' Help, my personal favorite of their films, even though I realize A Hard Day's Night is technically the best. This is the DVD. I don't think I got this in Blu-ray yet either. This is a movie I'm dying to get on Blu-ray because the quality, I think, would be really mind-blowing in really vivid, high-definition color. So I want to get that. Here's a very early DVD I had. This is John Lennon's Sweet Toronto, back when one of my earliest DVDs. This is the box, and you pulled it out, and it was like a CD-shaped DVD. It's a DVD in here. Sweet Toronto. If Bobby Gass is watching, he was there. Bobby Gass from the VC was there in the flesh to see John Lennon. And Yoko Ono. Shh. Okay. So Here we have another excellent item. This is the, what is it called? The Classic Album Series. This is John Lennon, Plastic Ono Band, the first official studio album that John did, and there's great reminiscences in here from Ringo, who played on the album. Great drumming on this album. Klaus Voormann, who played on the album. Really a good history of the making of this album, and some tapes, you know, outtakes and tapes that the different mixes and things. You have to see it. Here's a great documentary, Lennon, New York City, which I think is really fantastic. I love this. I actually have another one that I can't find, another one that's kind of like a companion piece to this, that's called what is it called, with the U.S. versus John Lennon, about the political stuff they're trying to deport John Lennon. That's another good one. I don't have it in this batch. I can't find it right now, so that's recommended also. Got a lot of John Lennon stuff. I'm going to go off to something else. Here from 1985 is a fabulous concert. Carl Perkins and Friends, and you got Eric Clapton, got Carl Perkins, George Harrison, and here you got Ringo, and you've got Dave Edmunds, and there's other people in the cast. Roseanne Cash is there, and this was a show that they did for HBO, a rockabilly session, and this was the first time we got to see George perform out in public for a long time, and he looks like he's having a ball because Carl Perkins is his hero. And I think that Ringo was also interested in performing a lot because of him playing the drums here. It's really great. I would really recommend seeing this. 1985. All right. Here's Paul McCartney, Good Evening New York City, when he played Citi Field, I think the first concert in Citi Field. They tore down the old Shea Stadium, which was historic for the Beatles performing in, and then they went ahead and rebuilt it as Citi Field, and Paul played there. I didn't go to this concert, unfortunately. I wish I did, but I didn't. Here's a comedy, the movie Caveman with Ringo in it. I think this is a funny comedy. I think Ringo does really well in this. And this is where he met his wife, Barbara Bach. They made the movie in 1980, which is when they met on the set and fell in love and got married in 1981. They've been together ever since. Here's another Ringo movie that I saw that I really recommend. I saw it only once. It's called That'll Be the Day. You can see Ringo there. It's a good drama. Good drama role for Ringo. Oh, okay, we're going to get off that. Here's back to John. Here's one called John and Yoko's Year of Peace. This one is by Image DVD. Talks all about 1969 bet-ins and when they were into the peace craze that they both were in. Here's documentary by Martin Scorsese, George Harrison, Living in the Material World. A lot of people may be surprised that while as a Beatles fan it's always great to see rare interviews and rare footage that we've never seen before, and of course this has plenty of it, I did think it was a little too Beatles heavy, since it should be more of a George solo history really. They make it mostly the Beatles with a little George, and I thought it was a little overlong. A little disappointed in this as a diehard fan. I really liked, I would have liked seeing, I don't know, more of George solo and stuff like that, you know. We already know the Beatles story, you know. So, here's another. This is, you want to talk about a surprise? This is a surprise. Now, I should have thought of this. The Prince of Records had a contest recently where he asked us, what were we most surprised with? Now, remember, this concert here, Concert for George, go out and get it. Go out and watch it. If you people have never seen it, anybody that's a fan of George or the Beatles, see this. Because they had a lot of other concerts before this. When I had heard about this, there was a John Lennon tribute, a couple of John Lennon tributes that I thought were kind of weak, you know, people singing John Lennon songs. But this, I avoided this for a while because I figured it's going to be more of the same garbage. A guy at work told me, this is a fantastic concert, Joe, don't miss it. And I got it and I was blown away by it. This is great. Concert for George. I watched this over and over again. all George's friends performers. I mean, Eric Clapton, I can't name them all. Eric Clapton, Billy Preston, everybody that knew George. Paul and Ringo appear. You get to see Paul singing For You Blue and All Things Must Pass. Two songs you never thought you'd see Paul sing, which is great. Here's a Paul documentary, The Love You Make. Although I really can't stand Paul's 2001 Driving Rain album, this is a good account of when he was affected by the World Trade Center disaster. Paul was in an airplane on the way to taxi back to England, and he saw the towers get destroyed, and he decided to stay in New York and form a concert. And this is the documentary to that, which is highly recommended. It's Paul in New York, trying to help out. This is Paul McCartney, Live Kisses. I like the album Kisses on the bottom, but you know what? I think this little, I don't know what you call it, a performance in the studio of him doing all the songs with, I forget her name, gee, I don't want to forget it, Diane Krall, who helped on the album. I'm sorry about messing that name up. That's very important. I should have checked it. Anyway, they're both great on here, and as much as I like the Kisses on the Bottom album, he sings the songs even better on this. So if you like that album, try this, because he does the songs even better. I gotta move a little faster because I'm running out of time. Here's the Dick Cavett shows that John and Yoko did, 1971, 1972. Very good interviews, very important if you're a fan. Here's the 1988 film, Imagine John Lennon, the first time we got to see and hear a lot of rare video footage, film footage, outtakes, and things like that. Here's the Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus with the Rolling Stones and the Who and John and Yoko, and it's really cool to watch. Here's a documentary film, a biofilm, biography, Nowhere Boy. I bought this as a blind buy. I watched it. I thought it was pretty good. There's a lot of factual errors, as there always are, and a lot of mistakes. A lot of things that John's mother's family, Julia, they weren't too happy about the way she was portrayed in here and stuff. But anyway, I think it's worth a watch. Here's Gimme Some Truth. Okay, this is the making of the Imagine album. Anybody out there who loves the Imagine album, you gotta have this. It's all the work at Tittenhurst Park studio, John and Yoko studio, making this record. Very good. Okay, this is the Paul McCartney years. Now this is essential for Paul McCartney fans because it's a, was it a double CD? I don't know how many, double DVD. There's multiple discs in here. It's got most, if not all, of Paul's videos. But the thing is, if you're really like picky as I am with stuff, they cropped them all off for widescreen TVs, which were not the way they were shot. This is a good example where, although this is great to have and I recommend it, if you're somebody that's really a perfectionist about these videos or promo films, you want to have them the way they were shot, which is a square. You don't want to have them as a rectangle because they're blocking off information, and that's where the so-called unofficial copies come in, if you know what I mean. So whatever floats your boat. Here's a concert back in the US, concert film. Offhand, I can't really, it's dark in here, I can't really see the years, I get them mixed up. I don't know if this is a 2002, 2001, 2, or 3 concert. Here's another one, A&E, another concert, Paul McCartney, The Space Within Us. I like this one, Space Within Us. Here's Give My Regards to Broad Street, Paul's Magical Mystery Tour that he, so to speak, that he did on his own. I like the music in this movie, and I get a kick out of Paul being in the movie, but as a movie itself, it's kind of depressing, kind of a failure, but it's worth seeing for the songs. So, and to see Ringo in it too. So, here's The World Tonight. Paul McCartney in The World Tonight. This is an early DVD where Paul is talking all about his album Flaming Pie, one of his best albums in my opinion, and he performs some songs from Flaming Pie, so this is essential. Very good. And here's one that's pretty cool. This is Paul from 1999, live at the Cavern Club. He went back in 1999. I mean, after Linda had died and he was depressed, he put out the Run Devil Run album. Kind of took him back to his, excuse me, go for another track here. He went back to his roots, singing, raunchy rock and roll, which is what that album is, Run Devil Run. And here he's at the Cavern Club, the newly built Cavern Club, singing a lot of hard rockers. And Dave Gilmour's with him too, among others, so check it out. Okay, I'm going to go through the rest of these pretty quick. These are what's left. This is Ringo and his, this is called Ringo and his new all-star band. This has a, I don't know which one this is. Again, it's kind of dark in here. It's got Lucky Man on here, Cleveland Rocks, Things Can Only Get Better, Howard Jones. I mean, that's the band that was with him here. Take the Long Way Home, Supertramp. So Ringo and some other, it's a good lineup. Here's one called Ringo and His All-Star Band Tour 1973. 1973. Cut, edit, take two. Ringo and His All-Star Band Tour 2003. That's more like it. Can't read it that well. I don't have much time. Here's a new one, Ringo at the Ryman, which is very good, except that a couple of tracks here are the studio versions. Some fans have been talking about this. The new song Wings from the 2012 album that Ringo did. Ringo 2012, the album was called. On this particular, I'm going to skip this. On this particular record, I think that song is lip-synced on here, or dubbed in afterwards. Whatever. Here's, this one's called, Soundstage, Ringo and the Roundheads, Soundstage. This is very good. It's mostly like Ringo doing his own concert. This is all Ringo stuff. It's not any other all-star band members, just Ringo by himself, if you're looking for that. And let's see, what do we got here? This is the last official one I have. This is the best of Ringo Starr and his all-star band so far. This one here has got all different kinds of people on here. It's got Todd Rundgren, Felix Cavalieri of the Rascals, Jack Bruce from Cream, Peter Frampton, Gary Brooker of Procol Harum, Simon Kirke, it's hard to see everything, Joe Walsh. So they got Dr. John on here, Levon Helm. They got a little bit of everything on here, going to from like I think 1989 to 1997 period. All right, so I got that in. I got a couple of minutes left. I'm looking around just to see if there's any DVDs. That's what I got more or less. That's like official. Then you get stuff like I can't really show a lot of this stuff. Like I said, I also have, and this is not to brag, this is just to tell you what I have. I have about 100, and I'm always trying to get more all the time. There's a certain guy that I know. I didn't really want to talk about this much because if I talk too much about it, a lot of people are going to be asking, well, how do I get these and where did you get them? You can get them. It's easy enough. That's all I could say. The stuff here is nice to have, but a lot of it's going to be edited or changed a little bit. If you really want to get the pure primitive way, a lot of times a lot of that stuff pops up on YouTube where it shouldn't be and stuff like that, and you can find these things around, So anyway, I forgot, I'm very sorry, I apologize, I forgot the name of the person offhand who asked this request to show these DVDs and Blu-rays, but thanks for asking, and hope you enjoyed it. I went on pretty long here for the full length of the camera, but I had a lot of stuff to fit in there. So anyway, thanks a lot folks for watching. Beatles forever, of course.